Today's program is brought to you by Tres Vistas Recovery, located in San Juan Capistrano, California, an evidence-based and holistic healing sanctuary run by Dr. Daniel Hedrick. He's the same gentleman who treated me back in 2007. Check him out at tracevistasrecovery.com or give him a call at toll-free 844-900-0444. Tres Vistas employs the most dedicated and respected in the field of addiction recovery. Their team of proven individuals tailors treatments to suit each individual's addiction rehabilitation needs, and their complete staff is ready to help you get back on track to a full and enjoyable life. Tres Vistas Recovery, healing one family at a time. Welcome to the Todd Z-Cast, everybody. My name is Todd Zalkins, recorded live here in Long Beach, California, where we talk about a little bit of everything, a little bit of recovery, a little bit of this, that, and the other. Some things relevant and highly irrelevant. We're here to share with you what's really going on. Welcome, everybody, to the Todd Z-Man podcast. We are not broadcasting live from Long Beach, California today. We are actually at East Carolina University, located in Greenville, North Carolina, and I am so excited to be here today with Jarmichael Harris, the ECU Collegiate Recovery Community Coordinator, and Claire Perry, the Collegiate Recovery Week Chairperson. And, we flew out here a couple of days ago, myself and my podcast producer, Michael Meeker. We've been out here for a couple of days. We showed the film A Long Way Back, and tonight we get to give a talk, and we've just been having a blast out here. And today we get to talk with you guys about what you guys are doing, which is helping the students in recovery.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's been so fun getting to know you guys and hanging out with you guys, and the energy that you guys are putting into helping people who are sober, students who are living sober, and creating that environment of positivity on campus. So I want to hear about how you guys are cultivating this environment at East Carolina University.
Definitely, man. It's been really exciting to have you on campus, and just to tell you a bit about how the Collegiate Recovery Community came about. We started in 2015, so we're still very new, but even in our short amount of time, there's been a lot of energy and a lot of support, not just from our students, but administration as well. And so that's really helped us to really propel forward to be one of the premier collegiate recovery communities on the East Coast at this point.
Now, how many students do you have here?
Not nationally, 29,000 in total of students, both undergraduate and graduate professional students.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I think in time this will probably change. But do you think that there's a little bit of a fear associated, with students who might be new in recovery, thinking, God, is it okay to approach this place? Come to this community and say, hey, I'm struggling or either need help, or hey, I'm just a sober person, and I want to be around this community. And what's your take on that?
Yeah, so actually our collegiate recovery community really is here to support the students that are in recovery, but a large part of our program is really having our allies be a part of our program, like Claire, who's just a student on campus that enjoys being sober, enjoys hanging out, and helping students who are in recovery feel connected to the university in a way that everyone kind of share in.
That is awesome. Claire, can you comment a little bit about that as to how you're promoting, this mission that you guys are on? Because I know that so many other colleges are falling in line with this, and share with the audience or the listeners how you're going about doing this.
Definitely. So I'm an ally, which means that I'm not in active recovery, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm living a completely sober lifestyle, and that's completely fine. And the way that I try to promote it is I try to go around campus and make sure that everybody's comfortable in who they are and what their struggle is and what their journey is, because we all have a different path. And I think the way that our collegiate recovery program is really good at excelling in is we have a very large ally support system. So our allies range from anywhere from students that are interested in it, like they have rehab services degrees or majors, to somebody like me whose family was personally affected. And it kind of helps with giving the family somewhere to go as well to feel comfortable in talking and sharing their part of their sibling or their mom or their dad's recovery journey as well, to just kind of build up the community support on campus and erase the stigma of it so people are comfortable with coming forward.
So you guys are not only acting as an existing resource for, hey, we've got this place for sober people to hang out and to be a group of people on doing this thing together, but if someone needs help, Jay, I get to call you Jay now.
Yeah, you call me Jay for sure.
Jarmichael's not my buddy. I get to call him Jay now. I'm digging that. And so Jay, Claire, if you guys encounter someone who's struggling, whether it's through the grapevine or through your own personal experience out there, you guys get to reach out to this person and say, hey, I can be of help to you. And just out of curiosity, have you had that experience yet?
Most definitely. As an ally, I think it's a very unique role because you get to kind of be the voice of recovery without actually having to share that personal journey necessarily. You can share your journey with how you've experienced recovery, but you don't necessarily have to come out as someone in recovery to help somebody. But
Totally.
You can lead them to the resources of people that are in recovery that may not necessarily be in the place where in their recovery journey they feel comfortable going out in public and sharing that.
Yeah, that is so awesome.
Yeah.
That and you guys are, I had a chance to spend a lot of time with you guys yesterday, and both Mike and I, we had so much fun hanging out and walking around the campus with both of you and meeting a bunch of the students, and it's clear that you both are super passionate about what you're doing and helping other people, and that's what it's all about. And I can see that it's in your heart,
Yeah.
and it shows. And so I can tell that you guys have plans for this thing to grow.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
most definitely.
And Jay, where do you see this going?
Yeah, actually to back up a bit about the resources, other resources on the campus, our Collegiate Recovery Community is actually connected to our counseling center on campus. So if Claire is to run into someone or I meet someone who identifies as struggling, we can definitely help connect them to clinical resources right here on campus that will be free of charge. We have several AOD specialists on our staff here that assist in that process. They'll help them with the clinical aspects, and then we help with the social.
Pardon my interruption. Can you explain to the listeners what is that? You say AOD?
Yeah, so alcohol and other drugs. So
Okay.
licensed counselors here in our center that can help with the clinical aspect of the addictions, and we help on the social aspects.
So for instance, if there's, I saw there's a whole bunch of on-campus living here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard someone say there's like 23,000 people living on, close to campus or
Yeah, close to campus for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if and there's a bunch of sororities and a bunch of fraternities really close
Yeah.
by. So if someone were to come into your office and say, gosh, you guys, I've got a drinking problem, or I've got a drug problem, I'm assuming that you guys can be like, we can help you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
We actually have student-led 12-step meetings on our campus as well.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And these are safe places where both male and females can get the message of recovery
Yes.
and get a sponsor
Uh-huh.
and be on their way to being free from drugs and alcohol.
And that also came as a result of some of our students in the Collegiate Recovery Community kind of expressing that they wanted young people's meetings because there wasn't enough in the community at the time for people to kind of understand people that are their age and kind of facing the exact same struggles as them.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's so important as a recovering person to have someone in your same peer group. For instance, back in California, where I reside, there's all sorts of young people in recovery, and there's meetings for everyone. I would not recommend a 20-year-old person being thrust into groups of mainly 55 and up meetings because we can recover anywhere. However, it's important that individuals are amongst at least a few people their own age just to feel comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And that's so awesome that you guys are creating that environment where they can feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I was so excited to hear about when I was talking with you guys yesterday, Jay had mentioned that I believe that there was some type of a political member, I don't know if it was in the immediate area, but something happened that allowed a grant to be provided to allow this thing to keep rolling. Mm-hmm. And can you comment on that a little bit?
Yeah, so our founding really existed or comes to existence from former Governor Pat McCord. When he was active here, he came in 2014 and signed an executive order to establish 6 collegiate recovery communities across several of our state schools. So ECU happened to be one of those 6, and so since 2014, and we've been going strong, getting what's the word I'm looking for? Money coming each and every year.
And things like that are necessary to keep your program alive, because without that type of funding, it's tough to save lives.
Yeah.
Because you guys need to exist, right? Mm-hmm. And then as our evening, was moving along last night when I was speaking with Claire, it was so cool when I heard you. Claire's a pre-med student, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Claire mentioned in our talk, and it totally blew my mind. In fact, this was the first that I had heard someone share this with me, as far as one of her endeavors later on, once she graduates or gets into medicine. You had talked about becoming active in lobbying against. Can you share this with the listeners?
So right now I'm kind of looking for my career journey. I'm either going to do substance abuse psychiatry or I want to do sports medicine. But as a sports medicine physician, I want to influence policy. So I want to kind of be an advisor to the lawmakers about prescription policies, anywhere from marketing to anything like that, because I feel like it's a big problem in our nation. And I feel like the opioid issue is just getting so largely out of hand, and physicians have a responsibility, in part, to take action and to kind of influence the policymakers, because if the policymakers don't understand medicine, then that's where kind of a misconstruction can come.
So both of you are just, you're fiercely determined to, what I'm getting is to influence change.
Yes.
Not just on an individual level. You're starting this organic kind of a mission to help people who are hurting, people who are suffering with the disease, but also on a political level. Mm-hmm. And what I love about you guys is not on an attacking level, because and that's kind of how I am too. Is I don't want to go out and like bash big pharma per se, but it's like, what's the solution here to the problem? Right. How can we go about creating resources with tax dollars and also, like kind of what you're saying is, how can we create policy to institute change to help other people and to minimize how some of these prescriptions are being written, how some of these drugs are getting out there. That was a wonderful, wonderful thing that a path that you're taking, both of you. And I just seeing this thing happen, it's awesome. Yeah. Now, Jay, to come back to you for a second, Mike, my producer, the producer of our show, he mentioned to me last night. Am I correct that are you tied into? Is it 5 colleges total also that is part of this environment? Not just East Carolina University.
Yeah, so a total of 6 that are state funded, and then if you look at maybe smaller startups or in universities that are in maybe forms of student organizations and things of that nature, you're looking at maybe 12 to 13 programs across our state.
Can you mention some of those institutions?
Yeah, sure. Shout out to NC State as a student organization. UNC Charlotte, which is the first in our state. UNC Wilmington, UNC Asheville, UNC Greensboro, North Carolina A&T, the first HBCU in our state to have a collegiate recovery community, and UNC Greensboro, if I haven't said that one already.
I know that this is your home base.
Yes.
Do you spend time at those institutions as well?
We do. So we're actually part of a larger organization called the Association for Recovery and Higher Education. And out of that, we also have regional summits and state summits. And so we meet 4 to 5 times a year in different avenues, meeting up, discussing plans for not just what we currently have going on, but how we can also expand to community colleges and other universities who have not gotten on board yet.
And if I'm correct, you're coming out to LA pretty soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, that's the plan, is to be in LA for a meeting.
I'll throw in money for a plane ticket.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, for sure. Got to come out and have dinner with us.
Yeah.
But, however, we don't have Bojangles out in LA.
You don't.
We got to have some of the staff come out there. There's this place. Well, not just that. There's locations
There's
everywhere.
a lot.
Yeah.
It started in North Carolina.
I've got a resentment towards the West Coast because we don't have a chain called Bojangles. They make food that we need to have in Southern California. Fried chicken, blueberry bow muffin. What are they called? Bowberry. They just make food that we need to have there. In fact, we're gonna go there tonight. We had a good time there last night, didn't we?
did.
Yeah, we did.
I want to move here part time.
Okay. Just part-time?
Well, I need to come to the Waffle House more often.
Okay.
I need to have peel and eat shrimp more often. We're gonna go to barbecue tonight, aren't we?
Hopefully.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. Things close a little bit early around here on the East Coast.
We need to make phone calls. We need to make phone calls. We're just having a great time being here, though. And where do you? There are approximately 70 fairly good-sized institutions in the United States that are actively involved in these sober communities.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
I know University of Colorado Boulder's got a big one.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Right? Is that like kind of the flagship?
The flagship will actually be Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Massive,
Texas.
right?
Yeah.
We got to get out to Texas Tech.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about the scholarship program there.
Yeah. So the best way I understand it, Texas Tech's program really is an endowment fund, and so they have a large facility that houses their collegiate recovery community. So in fact, it's like an entire department in itself, actually. And students can apply into their collegiate recovery community. And even if they're deferred for enrollment or admission into the university, if they get accepted into the program for their collegiate recovery community, they also get enrollment into their into the university, even if they were denied from the university initially.
Really?
Yeah. And that comes with the full scholarship.
So they are really raising the bar.
Yeah.
And do you foresee, based on all these things that you guys are doing,
Mhm.
you know, these actions that you guys are taking, don't you foresee with all the problems that exist in our country with, and it's, you know, we hear so much, we know so much about the opioid epidemic, but there's also problems with benzodiazepam, Xanax, Valium, alcoholism, and all that stuff. So many young people are addicted to alcohol, drugs, and all that stuff. Don't you also foresee that not just 70 campuses, but in a couple of years, maybe 200, maybe 300 are going to fall into line with these models that you guys are creating because there's going to be a need,
Definitely.
right?
As of this summer, there's actually 100 universities that are connected to the AREG.
Well, let's scratch off the 70.
Yeah.
And if we could just attach up Bojangles to about 60 or 70 of those,
Yeah. And so
that's like a tour bus. I got to attend more.
That's one of the great
Food's
things
a
about
big
it, though. That's one of the great things is that there are so many, and we each have our own cultures and our own. Just like our campuses are very individual, our collegiate recovery communities are very individual and have a lot of different styles and flavors as well. Even in the state of North Carolina, I mean, you get completely from abstinent-based completely to more moderate, and there's different strokes for different folks, and it all kind of hinges on the campus culture as well.
Jay, have you found, you know, with the people that you've met in this network of other sober campus recovery people, are they just as on fire for it as you are? Are they pretty much just like everyone's all in, like, let's do this? And because that's what I see about you guys, is that you're super inspired to make this happen. This isn't just for this year. You want this to be rocking and rolling for years to come, because like we talked about a second ago, the need isn't going anywhere. In fact, the need is going to be increasing. It's increasing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it absolutely
Would you agree with that?
I completely agree, and I think most of the need comes from the need for education and advocacy, because not many people and not many students know what they're messing with before they mess with it, and they don't know anything about drug interactions, and they have no idea coming onto campus. And when you're thrown into a university setting and you're exposed to all of these things, and even these students are being exposed to it much younger in high school, and you're not educated on the issues, then it can become a problem really quickly.
I want to ask we'll start with you, Claire, and then Jay, we'll go to you. I want to have you answer the same question: is from a social standpoint, from an educational standpoint, when it comes to young people, where is it, do you think, that we're falling short as a society when it comes to drug prevention?
Absolutely. I think our biggest issue is right now in schools, it's a just say no mentality. It's not a, this is what you do if you come across the situation. It's not giving you the actual facts about drug interactions, not telling you that Xanax and alcohol don't mix together, not telling you that heroin has different forms and it can be used in different ways, and what you're looking at might actually be heroin when you think it's something else. I think it's from that standpoint, they're not getting education. They're not being taught, if you're going to be exposed to these drugs, what are they, what do they look like, what do they actually do? Because most of the time students just hear they get you high.
Yeah. For example, it's like, try this, we hear it might make you feel good, but also not knowing you might not wake up.
Yep.
That's a great point.
And I've had a lot of students that don't actually understand the addiction potentials of these drugs. So some students don't think that cocaine's addictive, and they don't think that prescription medication's addictive just because it is being prescribed by a physician. They think that that gives you some kind of a warrant to be able to use it however you see fit, and that makes it safer than, say, anything else that you're using that you're getting off the street.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that we can do better.
Oh, much better.
We can do a lot better.
Much better.
In that regard.
Abstinence is not the way to teach students how to be safe.
I hear you. Jay?
Yeah. I think personally for me, I think it's an aspect of how society kind of marries the two, substance use and college, together, and it's almost an expectation.
Yeah.
Even if you're someone who's never touched a drug or even seen a drug, you've had different exposures through media, things of that nature, to say, well, first thing I do when I get to college is I have to go to a keg party, or the first thing I need to do is try whatever the case may be, because it's kind of been thrown out there in the sense of this is what college students do, and you will be okay in the end of the day. And unfortunately, we know that addiction doesn't necessarily work that way, right? So no one's walking around with a sign on their forehead or a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm an addict." And so if 5 friends go to these parties and they're all hanging out, 4 of them may be very well in engaging in some of this reckless behavior, but that 5th one might have the disease of addiction, and it'll be difficult for him to know whether or not the behaviors and the results of his behaviors are normal, or if there's actually something that he needs to address in the clinical setting.
To touch on that, students kind of have this saying that's kind of gone around since, I don't know, the dawn of time, that you're not an addict until you leave college. So that's how they excuse their behaviors. They say you're not an addict until you leave university because it's normal. So if you are having a dependency, if you're drinking a lot, if you're drinking every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, then you're not an addict until you leave.
That's that I have never heard that, and you just blew my mind with that statement. You know, I'm 10 and a half years clean and sober, and count basically every time, you know, when I hear people's stories, when I hear them tell their story, I started drinking at about 12 or 13.
Exactly.
I started drinking at about 12 or 13. 14 or 15, I started using drugs.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, what's the most common thing that I hear, the marijuana, people won't probably believe what I'm saying, is marijuana kickstarted everything.
Mm-hmm.
Marijuana, they call it the gateway drug. Marijuana starts it all. And people think it's just so harmless, and it's what opens it all.
I would also argue that alcohol is turned into a gateway drug as well.
For sure. I want to ask you, both of you, again, this same question. That is, we kind of had a little acid test run, with some students last night, and we had an opportunity to show the film to some people, and our intention has always been that when Mike Meeker and I made this film, The Long Way Back, we want to impact a lot of people.
Yeah.
By creating a combination of message of awareness and hope as well. And just out of curiosity, you had the opportunity to see the film last night, and some other people got to see it. And what was your take on it?
I think it was incredible because a lot of the documentaries that you're shown as a student in university or as a student in high school even about substance abuse is very PG, and it's very edited, and they don't really give you necessarily the facts or what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
And they don't show you the fact that addiction doesn't really have a face. If you watch the documentary, a lot of them, they just looked like your average, neighborhood kids, and a lot of them were in the beginning. So it just kind of went to show a little bit more about the fact that addiction is there, and it's real, and it's different for everybody.
So do you feel like it may have impacted some people who saw it last night?
Oh, absolutely. I had a lot of people come up to me afterwards and talk to me personally about it.
And that's all we want.
Mm-hmm.
We want people to leave thinking and maybe contemplating, and that's what our hope is.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay, what were your thoughts?
So for me, it was this stark contrast of before and after that could almost have been two completely different documentaries.
Yep.
You were able to blend it so well that by the time you get through all of the before and you're so caught up in, wow, how was he even alive, to hear the after effect and see all the things that you've been able to regain and live out, to see even like Jacob getting better, things of that nature. You almost forget about some of the craziness that you've seen earlier because you're so caught up in, wow, this is the hope that we're all looking for. This is what can actually happen when you find that connection.
I'll talk about it a little bit tonight, and that is, if you want to test the waters, because people, let's face it, young people are going to test the waters.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're going to be very, very fortunate to get out alive, especially if you test the waters with the things that I tested. Because when you start dabbling in the things that I was dabbling with, it's the major leagues. This isn't a couple sips of wine. This isn't an occasional joint. When you're doing those things, you're dealing in a whole different realm. Yeah. And I'm very, very grateful and fortunate to have lived through it. But are you willing to give up almost 2.5 decades of your life? It's a lot of time that I lost. People think, well, God, didn't you have a lot of fun? Are you kidding? A lot of misery associated with that. A great deal of misery and a great deal of time lost. And so was it worth it? Listen, today I get to hopefully help a lot of people, but do you really want to gamble? Because the chances are so against you. And so today we're hoping that we want to change people's minds and make them think. And to kind of talk about this, further educating people. One of the things that when we're talking like when I'm at a high school, it is so tough, and I'm not sure if you'll agree with me or not. It's very, very difficult to get through to a high school student.
Absolutely.
Their minds are already made up. First and foremost, they're already in parties in the backyards. They're already doing all of these things. We need to get them younger.
Yep.
And I'm sure you're all familiar with once in the 70s. You know, I'm older than you guys, but my dad sat me in front of the TV and says, "You were going to watch this. It's called Scared Straight."
Yeah.
And it really did scare me. These tough prisoners, these tough men scaring these kids, and I didn't. It made me think about a lot of things for sure. Now I ultimately went down my path, but we need to get in front of kids at this age where they really haven't tested the waters yet. Is my take, and so getting at them younger is what do you guys think about that? Educating them younger.
I absolutely agree. I know personally, I think it's across the nation now. DARE is kind of implemented in all schools in around 4th or 5th grade. But I feel like we could do better with it because a lot of it is, again, the just say no education. It's this is what the drug is. It's not, this is what it does. This is what it looks like. Because they want to be PG and they don't want to scare the kids. But I feel like that's kind of counterproductive to everything that we're trying to do.
Yeah. Jay?
I actually have a personal thing for high school students. So I love working with high school students, and I always feel like, even with college students, there's always an opportunity to present new information in a way that they can accept. So I definitely agree that we should start younger, but I say don't discount the high school students altogether.
Oh, please. I want to be really clear. This was not saying, hey, let's forget about them, because that was way wrong. And then I got to step back. My point was it's very difficult to get through to them. Does not mean we don't stop trying. A lot of them are already just set, and it's like it's tough to get through to them. My point was that we should work on starting on them earlier, because a significant of people come out to this high school, come out to this high school. It's like, of course I do that, but it's be nice to start working on them younger, middle schoolers, when they really haven't started popping Xanax. Because I look around at the crowd, and you see these kids on their iPhone, they're like, God, I want a Xanax. Can I get this guy out of here? I gotta listen to this guy. You know, what time is the party? And this isn't all of them, but of course we can impact high schools, and of course some people are listening. Oh boy, I hope I didn't screw up that little message. We want to help whomever we can possibly help. And so are we about ready to wrap here in a second? I just love what you guys are doing, and I hope this isn't my last visit to East Carolina University. I'll never screw up the way I worded that again. We have a little joke around here that we're not going to repeat. When I want to come back.
Definitely.
I hope you guys will have me back. And can we go to some restaurants when I'm here?
Yeah.
Yeah? Those little muffins? Biscuits.
Biscuits.
I won't make that mistake the 5th time. But, Jarmichael Harris and Claire Perry, you guys are wonderful examples for what more college campuses not only will be doing, should be doing, and can be doing here in the very near future. And it's just a pleasure to get to know you guys and to see you guys on fire for helping to promote a clean and sober community and to be a wonderful resource for young people who either need change or who want to change. And Mike and I are stoked to be here with you. So thank you for having me and Mike here to be with you guys. And we look forward to talking tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you, Condi, for having us.
Of course.
It's a pleasure. Barbecue later on?
Yes.
Well, we're going to close this out really quick. Let's give a shout out to As High As I Am Surf Shop, located in Morro Bay, California. Owned by big wave rider Mike Jones. He's the real deal. He rides 40-foot plus big waves. Go see him in Morro Bay, California. Also brought to you by Uncle CC's Hot Sauce, the one-man shop located in the state of Alabama. This guy makes hot sauce in his house. $4 a bottle. Get it on Facebook. Uncle CC, Clint Hogland, Hogland. He's my man, makes the best hot sauce in the world. Soon to be a household name. I love you, Uncle CC. That's all we got. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you soon.